Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the grand final. Or actually, it looks like it's a bit of a rand final right now. Don't worry, we'll get that all fixed up and squared away. But it is time for the main event. It's been another fantastic season of AEL Rocket League. And there have been two teams since hitting the playoffs that have been very, very dominant. It's USYD Rokit, the Monash Ball Chasers. And they're set to go down. Joining me, it is going to be Fetch. Who else would it be for this final showing?
Two casters who might have been familiar for those following the league throughout the season, and two teams who might be a little bit familiar as well. We've got that classic knock us down and we come straight back up out of the lower bracket. I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this one is going to play out. I have a feeling we're going to get a fantastic series between these two. Now, last time when they played, however, we can take a quick little looky-loo. I know it's zoomed out a bit, but if we zoom right on in, we can see, 4-1. USYD Rokit came into that series very, very aggressive, and they did a fantastic job in shutting down a lot of the pitch and didn't really allow the Monash Ball Chasers to establish themselves. It was a pretty one-sided affair, and while, yes, this grand final technically is a reset bracket style grand final, so that, yeah, USYD doesn't have that one game advantage that some winners brackets might give you. What they have is an entire series advantage, Fetch, and it means that the Monash Ball Chasers are going to need to show us a new side of them if they're going to have to come out on top.
Yeah, they weren't able to take more than one game in that upper bracket final, which is what we kind of just said. But specifically, yeah, it's going to take so much more than what they showed us in that last series. And I mean, they can do it, right? It's not something we have any doubt in them for, but it's such a hard ask. And I'm going to be so excited if they can come out of the gates swinging, give us a great effort from game one. Because, you know, this will be a long series. Even just one best of 7 would be quite a solid, sizable series. But if we go all the way through the reset, this could be some intense Rocket League. And I want to see them coming out, stamping control in that first series. Maybe not in an aggressive way, but perhaps in a kind of controlled way. Show that they're just like ready to go for this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I just kind of can make myself known here. Look, we've got some big sponsors for this event in case you haven't been able to tell right now. It's a large one. A big thank you, though, once again, to those sponsors, I should say, those vouchers. Those sponsors vouching for us is what I was trying to get to. But, yeah, absolutely. I think, Fetch, I'm going to let you kind of lead this one off because, yeah, things are a little crowded where I am right now.
Yeah, you've got a lot to worry about. That's all right. But yeah, first of all is going to be Chatime. Make it fruity with Chatime and the new peach and lychee oolong tea range. Chatime is the fastest growing iced tea franchise in Australia. There are over 120 Chatime tea breweries with a commitment to quality, ingredients, and mix-ins, and a flair for innovative flavor combinations to brew nothing but the very best iced teas. We've always had a very strong attachment here at AEL with Chatime. They are now our main presenting partner. Thank you so much for all of the help they've done, of course. And yeah, you know, that's just, there's just more there now. And I'm very excited about it. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely.
Second up, I believe, is Predator.
It absolutely is. Conquer new worlds with Predator Gaming today. Predator are the gaming PC partner of the AEL. Conquer new worlds with Predator Gaming. Predator puts power and precision into your hands so you can elevate your gaming experience in every way with quality and performance. Thank you to Predator.
And, of course, you know, the best thing to go with a great Predator PC is a great monitor. AOC, the best viewing experience. AOC is a global leader in monitor display technology. For more than 50 years, AOC has delivered an exceptional viewing experience to millions of loyal customers worldwide. And today, the company offers a wide selection of stylish monitors for home, office, or gaming. Yeah,
thank you again, AOC. And then, of course, look, we've got the monitor set up, Fetch, right? And we've got a drink. We've got ourselves a sweet PC, but I'm hungry. What do I do?
True. The classic. It's Indomie! I still love the video game with Indomie, even though it's not given to me today. I'm not, apparently AEL have said I'm not allowed to say it, but I've done it anyway, so too bad. But, of course, we have something more exciting, which is a chance to win the Ultimate Gamer Package worth $3,500. Show how you game with Indomie Australia. For more information on how to enter, head to indomie.com.au. Indomie noodles are made from carefully selected ingredients, the best quality flour, and fresh spices from the natural resources of Indonesia, giving a unique and delicious taste. As a result of Indomie's success, their range has expanded to 14 different products. And I had to rely on Indomie today because my food wasn't delivered on time. Yeah. So, you know, personal personally a big fan of them, but $3,500, that is a huge prize. Have a look at their website. And one more, the monitor, the game, what's left, Formal?
Oh, it's all about that audio. It's all about RIG, what it takes to win. RIG develops headsets delivering superior audio for competitive games and streamers at all levels. So get out there, join the RIG team, and enhance that gaming experience.
Absolutely. As I always say, anyone who thinks that we don't have the best voices in the world just aren't using good enough technology. Buy yourself a RIG headset, you'll get it. But yeah, thank you to all of our sponsors. They're all fantastic. We love them all. Brilliant range of products there. And it's all pretty close to us in terms of like our work at AEL. So thank you to all of them. It's been great having them on board.
Yeah, for another fantastic season. I'm sure they're all keen, just like I am, to get the show on the road for our big final game. It's going to be a good one. Can Monash take us to a second best of 7, or are we going to be one and done? We'll fetch. We're going straight to the pitch. We're going straight into the action. It's USYD Rokit on the blue side. In orange, it is the Monash Ball Chasers. Specifically on that blue side, negative, Psy, as well as Eki. For Monash, of course, it is Kruzza, it is Freeze, and it is Kevin. No longer 07, just Kevin. That's all well and good. Either way, we are on the pitch, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. USYD Rokit. They're such an aggressive, such an attacking team, but one of the reasons why they're able to be so aggressive and play that far forward has been the defensive efforts from probably the most experienced player on this pitch. Negative, it has kind of been his show throughout.
Yeah, and they've got that, they've got that reset in the upper bracket, from winning through the upper bracket, I should say, as a very lovely little pass straight into the center. If we'd have another little look at that one. Freeze just flicks over. Very cute stuff. Kruzza just puts it in the back. It's very, kind of textbook goal, realistically, but it's that sort of aggression we wanted to see from the Monash Ball Chasers. But yes, back to your point about USYD. They're aggressive. They can just pull goals out of absolutely nowhere, and they've got the stable rotations, and they're coming through with a series advantage. Yeah,
they are coming through with a massive series advantage, but that first goal, looked pretty good for Monash, as you said. They kind of were able to sync up and able to drown that shot. And the thing about Monash is, yes, last time these two teams played against each other, they came up short, but they also had to go through my pick for what was probably going to be the team to win this on the way through it, which was the Uni SA beating Lethal, the team that had both Morse and Delusion on their team. That is who Monash got through. Now, Delusion wasn't playing, unfortunately. Had to kind of sit out because of, the whole Max's Rancid Rats and RLCS going a lot further than people kind of expected. Top 8 performance. Congratulations to them. But it did open the doorway for Monash to find this rematch, and they took advantage of it. And if this team is anything, well, I think they're definitely, a little bit of fortune seekers. They'll look to punish you if you do make those mistakes. And it's really quite phenomenal to see how well they bounce back and how strong they are gotten now that they are here in that grand final.
I am very excited to see that. I think I agree with you on this one. If Kruzza doesn't get a big dribble down, they could have seen a closer game, at least in the game one. But yeah, you're right. The sort of resilience of the Monash side is something which speaks well to them. They weren't done with that first upper bracket series. They're like, we have to fight you. If we have to fight 2 more just to take this championship, we'll happily do it. And they're showing exactly how well they can do that. A lovely pass back to Freeze, and then they're putting it in the corner, so it's not quite maybe the attack they might have liked there. The fact they still have the aggression is fantastic, giving opportunities, faking passes and things like that as well. It's been fantastic. Eki now put the ball on target. Does come off the backboard again, though. Goes a little high, and Kevin's just going to kind of guide this one out into the corner. Monash looks so controlled right now. This is not the team who, if there were no nameplates, you would expect to be the lower bracket team out of these two.
Yeah, no, the pace of this game is seemingly a lot faster than it was last time these two played against each other, where, don't get me wrong, it was fast, but it was Rokit controlling the tempo, and that hasn't felt the case as much here. Very impressed with how Monash have come out swinging. We'll see if they're going to be able to keep this momentum moving forward, though, especially when you have USYD kind of knocking at the door right now, unable to put the first one through. Negative pass back to side, double commit, opens up the doorway, and Eki is there. That's a tie ball game. Double commits, fetch. They'll always get you in the end.
They'll always get you. We always have them. They're never going anywhere. One small slip up as well. We kind of just, I don't always cast to curse that one. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but really, Monash, they held control. They dictated the pace, and then they were in position for that defense as well. It wasn't like there was a rotational error. They just, two of them went up for the play when only one of them needed to, and Eki was there to sort of take that 50 and score off it. Unfortunate for Monash, but again, it wasn't like the structural rotations and things were necessarily the problem there. Eki always gets touched from that one, but it gets flicked out wide. And it looks like they will have another opportunity to attack, but I don't know. They're kind of losing possession of it a little bit.
That demo almost opened a doorway for Eki right there. I think Monash, they've got to be a little bit careful right now. New South Wales, they smell some blood in the water, it seems. They're going to be hunting for something that was nearly a nice setup. Sai says going to have to find that second touch. Eki attempts to commit. And again, it is very much the case. On this attack, it's the Sai and Eki show with Negative usually back on that defensive half as the third member. And this time using Sai for a bit of a pinch, nearly going the distance with it. Freeze forced back. Something, though, that I'm noticing that I'm really liking from the Monash side that they weren't able to do last time is actually track and disrupt Eki in particular. Every touch Eki has made, there's been a couple good ones, yes, but even those good ones, there's still been a challenger somewhat in the area, and for the most part, the challengers coming from Monash have actually been winning out. I think as long as they can keep that spy on Eki, not allow Eki that space to work with, it's going to give this Monash side more chances in the long run.
I like that. I like that a lot. And it is disrupting that kind of player, which can be the key to a lot of these games.
Oh, he's got gap here, though. Right. This is why you don't give him space. Oh,
yeah. I mean, it didn't work out in that situation. They got the rotations back. They got the defenders. Monash, at least it reaffirms their game plan, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Don't let Eki do that. If Eki is allowed to do that one or two more times, I guarantee you that ball is going in the net.
Oh, true. Has another shot at it. Doesn't quite work through. Sai almost wants to wanted to pinch that one against the walled side. Better of it, flicks it back down to Eki, and Negative's going to try and make a run through the corner now. 9 seconds left. Oh my god, I don't know if I'm ready for an overtime just yet. It's too early in the morning. Too early in the night.
Too early in the morning? What time did you wake up?
I just wake up, but Eki puts an end to that. The player we just highlighted flicks it out of the corner. Beautifully done off this setup from Sai.
Again, no one on Eki. They let Eki get away, just kind of was hiding in that back corner, and when you're at the end of regulation, that's when you can least afford to leave him alone. So, of course, Sai is going to connect on that pass. That is essentially the USYD bread and butter. Apologies for calling them UNSW before. But, yeah, that is the USYD bread and butter. That is how they get things done. And while they get game number one done and out of the way, a 1-0 lead, two fantastic goals out of Eki. And Monash, look, you can have that strategy all you like. You know, you can be prepared to play around, let's shut Eki down. But when a player's that good, sometimes it doesn't even matter. You just can't stop him.
I was expecting that to come through. Like, I was expecting Eki to start finding breaks and things like that later on in the series. Like, that was the point I was, like, queuing up in my head for, like, 2 games later so he could seem super smart. But he just finds it the first one. Like, Eki, they just get it right away. Negative now goes straight back on the attack. Eki is below as the ball's going to drop straight down, possibly in their favor, but they're a little bit short for it. But yeah, Eki doing such a good job. Monash maybe going to have to reevaluate that strategy. But we know that Negative and Sai as well. Dynamic duo if ever there was one.
As we do see a nice clear, and let's see what the follow-up is as well. It's a bit hesitant, and now we got that pass almost coming through. Sai nearly finds Eki, but Negative in the third member role doesn't like the shot. Not with 2 defenders in the box, so USYD's going to look to try to draw them out. They get 1 defender to bite, but Kevin finds the gap and is able to clear it all the way down to the opposite end. A good clear out of Kevin. A bit unfortunate Kruzza wasn't further up the pitch to follow it up, though.
Yeah, you know, not quite putting on that aggression, maybe a little bit nervous about that, but not nervous about that post game, but like re-establishing their defense. Kevin tries to put that one on side with a good disruption of the play, again double commit, but this one works out as the 2 players are going to be there. The ball almost flicks past Sai. Kevin could have a bit of a breakaway here. It is going to be stopped by Kruzza, straight in as well. Perfect position in the middle of the pitch.
Whoops is all I can say right now for the USYD side. That challenge just not going Sai's way, and normally Negative would be back on the defense in those situations, but expecting that challenge to go in their favor, was already cheating up along that right side corridor, isn't able to fall back in time. End result's going to be a goal for Monash again. These guys are opportunity seekers. If you leave it open like this, yeah, someone's going to be there. Kruzza almost gets the dunk, but Sai will be the one who pushes it through.
Yeah, that's it. Not going to be It's not going to be the shot which sets up the attack just yet, but Eki wants to find one as well, keep the defense on their toes, try and sort of pull some of those players around. Kevin doing a good job. Just making a solo effort, at least for now, and Freeze, again, wants to try and find those opportunistic breakaways. We've seen this scoreline before in a previous game, but I mean, you know, USYD there were very comfortable sort of being able to retake that back in the last few minutes of the game, especially off the back of those fantastic setup plays from Sai and Eki. I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to call that too much of a double commit because they're both on the ground, both able to make those quick rotations. But we have seen a couple of those come through. Ball off the crossbar. Sai will be able to get to it, but not quite fast enough as the ball is going to be kept out by Monash for a little bit longer.
See pass back across the middle, Negative inside, looking to reach back forward. It'll be Negative who actually throws it to that corner, and now we're seeing Monash actually being the aggressors for once, trying to use that backboard. I mean, why not? The backboard has been the key to success for so many teams. However, between these two, I don't expect to see it attack that off. Instead, look for 50s like this. Kevin with the redirect finds the double touch instead. Fantastic goal out of Kevin, previously 07.
Still has the 007 in the tagline. I like it, a little bow tie. It's cute. But yeah, what's even more cute are those mechanics. That was lovely stuff. I really like, adapting to the play, seeing one opportunity, realizing you can't go for it, having the other one as the backup. That creates that 2-goal buffer, which we really, really like in Rocket League. 1 goal is just not enough given the way the game works, given how fast-paced it is. But Monash find themselves a couple. They need to hold this on. They need to keep watching Eki and Sai, though. Can't let them out of their sight.
Sai goes for the fake, finds the bump on Freeze, and Eki scores the goal. Even when Sai isn't passing it to Eki, still finding ways to set him up. The fake was brilliant, the bump even better, and it is a clean goal for the side of USYD.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, just Eki finding space, right? It's just the whole thing. Now we're back to that 1-goal lead. Exactly. Just nullify everything I just said. Sai wants to kind of put this one up and try and squash that one immediately, but Monash still have the advantage, still have the ability to play this through. They've scored 2 goals in this game already. They'll be looking for another one. Great effort by Negative straight over the top. We haven't seen them as much of a tool on the offensive, on making the offensive work happen, even though we know they can. Kevin gets knocked a little bit aside by Sai, so should allow a bit of time for the rotations to come back. Negative possibly going for the squishy save. He's just going to hold back. Has to contest with a fantastic aerial drill, but it's going to be Eki biting as well, so only Negative back in the square. And it's going to be Kruzza trying to play that one forward.
Reset.
Be a bit slower, go for the reset, but just gets shut down by Sai.
And now here comes Eki and Sai. Dynamic duo, perhaps a little bit too far forward. Negative trying to slow things up, but it almost leads to a Kevin shot. He would have liked a bit more power behind that, as Sai is going to find Negative through that corner challenge. 1 out by Freeze, and that's going to clear up a lot of space. 100 seconds remaining. USYD still chasing that equalizing goal, and Negative, with a bit of space, might be looking to try something cheeky right here. Goes for the pass to Eki, who can't not connect. Freeze gets the intercept and takes it away.
You can't kind of rely on that as Monash, but boy, will you take it. Kruzza almost finds it. Negative just spear tackles them out of the way. Shot off the wall potentially. Negative does a decent job getting that one, making the 50 happen, and passed off to Sai, but Freeze still gets the play off the corner. Not going to happen right there. Monash, they're still looking for goals. They're still looking for midfield control. That might not have been the touch you like, as Negative just puts it off the backboard, but can't find Sai or Eki.
Whoop.
Even though Sai does come from the flank, but not too much more is going to be gotten off this one. Freeze, I almost thought they were going to make a solo effort off that. I saw it happening. Didn't quite work.
Oh!
50. An incredibly important 50 as well. Oh, boy.
Negative gets the reset off the ground and somehow finds the height to get an underneath dunk almost on the Monash defender right there. Look, this might have turned into the Eki and Sai show, particularly when this team is on the attack, but you can never downplay Negative. He is too good in these 1v1 situations.
Yeah, that's it. Especially, we talk a fair bit about O's being loving a bit of offense. But yeah, it's not just when they're on the attack, right? It's not just when a team is on the attack, I should say. You need to look out for more plays. I mean, Negative could do it either way. Kruzza now tries to play off the backboard. Negative is there to make that interception happen, and Eki just flicks it back out. If they get another one to win it in regulation time, it's looking real rough for Monash. But still, 26 seconds of the clock. Plenty of time for them to set up an attack.
I mean, but again, it only took 2 seconds remaining for the University of Sydney to find their win before. Maybe it goes the other way. This time, Kevin's got the pressure there. Eki doesn't have the read. The doorway is open, but Negative shuts it first. Now going back to the other side of the pitch, Kruzza's going to try to put the ball safely in the bosom of the corner, but it can only stay there for so long in front of the net. Eki with a chance. Freeze holds it in place. Kruzza and Kevin go up, trying to find the gap, but Negative finds their way underneath. Eki gets bumped, but the ball goes back towards Sai, who lets it fall willingly. We got an overtime in game 2.
I like it. Sai just being like, oh, you want an overtime? All right, fine, we'll do it. We'll make this make it a golden goal type sort of gauntlet down challenge. Eki tries to go up big to set that waterfall up. Doesn't work out, and Freeze actually managed to get it past a couple. Gets a demo onto Sai as well, so some opportunity there, but didn't quite have the backup.
Oh, that's awkward.
The midfield control was almost there, but yeah, right, relied on the second defender, exactly. Fortunately, good coverage there, but it does give another opportunity here for USYD to go for an attack.
Yeah, unfortunately, that touch kind of did get away from Kruzza for a bit, and the space was immediately taken by USYD. They weren't able to do anything with this attack, although that's actually kind of the exact same touch Kruzza gave, but now going the other way. However, hesitation initially on the side of Monash, but now they have a player cheated forward. Kevin unable to find the redirect. They took their shot. They still might find another. Kevin light tap towards the net, but it's a bit too hard of a touch out of Eki. Now Freeze goes for the double from the corner, doesn't find it, but finds Kruzza instead. Shot, good! And we have ourselves a tied series at 1 apiece.
We do. I saw someone on Twitter absolutely talking about how much they hate this phrase, but we have a series on our hands. But yeah, jokes aside, that was a good little shot into the corner. Good pressure, good control. I mean, it came off an awkward touch from a defender. That is like one of the things we should say, but it was the fact that Monash pulled a slow ball from the corner, turned it into a goal by pulling it, across around that right-hand side of the field. Huge credit for them, and they make it 1-1 in this potentially the first series. With a bracket reset, it's a bit hard to I don't know exactly how to sort of refer to it, but yeah, 1-1 at the moment. This is a best of 7. Monash, if they want a shot at winning, they have to take this series and then another one.
Yeah, it's a long night ahead of Monash if they're going to be able to bring this one through, but that is a fantastic start from them. And let's just take a look at these two games, right? Game number 1, 2-second goal at the end of regulation. Game number 2, overtime. And game number 3 starts with Kevin getting a pinch off the ceiling to once again give Monash their 3rd opening goal of the series.
Patterns, huh? I mean, again, like we've seen the fact that USYD can come back. It doesn't mean a huge amount, but that 1-goal buffer is always going to be valuable. And when you can do it, when you can make it showy, that's extra nice. Do love a good ground pinch. Kevin showing how well they can just engineer attacks and things like that. Kruzza going to try and set one up for themselves, of course. Eki is back. Doesn't really have much time to play with those. The dispossession is going to come straight away. Freeze get the flip back. Actually ends up being Kruzza who takes that one away really, really briefly. And a setup that was a really good angle from Eki. And a bit of role reversal as Sai is the one to put it in.
I mean, the shot realistically does come from Eki right here, out of the corner, finds that redirecting touch, and Kevin goes for the clear, but just gets dunked something filthy right there by Sai. Tie ball game, only 29 seconds in game number 3. This series as a whole, realistically, it's been neck and neck, it feels like, throughout. Much far taken away from what we saw during our winner's bracket final.
Yeah, it has been fun as well. Like, not only has it been much closer than that, it was a pretty fun series, but this has been really exciting. The plays which have paid off, some of them are just, oh my god, slam the ball to the goal. Some of them have been things like this from Eki. Doesn't quite find the shot that time. Negative is going to go up and then try and actually give the 50 to Kevin. Try and get some better positioning on the play. Kruzza goes up, try and take the contest. Sai wins that one. And the pace going much more towards Rocket Log sort of style, at least the style they're showing in this series.
Yeah, I mean, Eki is finding his own ways to create space that was taken away from them in game number 2, and it's just kind of from the angles that Eki is attacking with. You kind of saw Eki underneath right there. It being a bit more dynamic right now, and oh my goodness, case in point again! Just trying to cut off from behind, cutting off from the side. Eki, you never know where he's going to be coming from, and it's really seeming like it's getting the Monash defense a bit off balance. Eki this time is just front and center, isn't able to find that shot, but just the reactive play coming from Eki is creating gaps, is creating openings, and we are seeing USYD looking to jump upon them. That's what we needed to see from Monash on the tail end, though. Freeze is able to finally win a critical 1v1, and it does give Monash some more breathing room. They're going to have to keep trying to find ways to win some of these 1v1s, not knowing where the challenge is realistically going to be coming from.
Yeah, and that's the problem with marking Eki, because you can't just have someone sit right next to them the entire time. You get behind in the play, and you end up sort of using too many players to keep one player down. But you can't. Yeah, it's a bit of it's an interesting problem. I'm interested to see how they're going to solve. Right at the moment, Sai goes up for this. Is just going to let it waterfall down potentially, but Kruzza is able to get to it first. Eki tries to contest this from the corner. Doesn't have much speed to work with or many teammates, so it's going to be Kevin who picks that one up, and is going to be happy with the demo onto Freeze instead. Sai gets some space though. Kruzza not able to get up and contest it, so Kruzza's just going to be settle for the clear to buy a little bit more space for the defenders themselves. Kevin in an awkward position, so it's going to be a 1v1 between Freeze and Eki, and Freeze does get that one pretty comfortably.
As we do see a bit of a slowdown of the pace right now in the corner. Sai tries to take advantage of it. Bit hard to find a pass in that type of situation. Not much USYD could do except for kind of give up that space. Kruzza going a little solo, apparently. The how you doing to the entirety USYD defense makes it a 2-1 lead.
Ooh, that was That was a bit cheeky, but hey, it works. And I guess that's the point I was trying to make early. We've seen some big, incredible mechanical goals. We've seen great passing plays. We've just started seeing some cheeky stuff like that. And I kind of like this whole... They're bringing everything they can, every trick in the book they want to use to win this series. Right now, again, 1 goal buffer, 2 minutes to go. Not a huge amount from Monash. If they can control the ball better than they were in those last, that last sort of minute of play or so, they should be in a shot with this one. But USYD kind of clearly know what to do to pull themselves back from this sort of scoreline.
Yeah, we'll see if USYD are going to be able to do so, as Eki, got the bump, but not the ball. That's okay. Negative will go ahead and just bang this one forward. Kevin trying to stop Sai from pushing forward, and that actually leads to Cruzza winning the challenge. Now Kevin with a chance for the 2-goal lead. Can't make contact with the ball, and that net was open as well. Just a minute and a half to go, and those are the types of plays you need to capitalize on if you are on the side of Monash.
Yeah, it feels like actually,
Oh!
Almost, not just almost. Cruzza finds that one again. Other side, different angle, but it's the same play, more or less.
Yeah, it feels very, very similar. Didn't need that second touch at the end. Technically, that one came off negative, and I don't know if we're going to count that for the own goal counter. I'm not sure. It's definitely on the line. I don't know. It's a little bit risky. Either way, 2-goal lead now in favor of Monash, who if they hold on to this one, which is looking more and more likely that they will, they're going to be up in our opening series, and that would be a pretty monumental statement as they go ahead and find a 4th goal.
Yeah, there it is. Cruzza picks up 3 relatively quickly as well. They are opportunistic goals, I think it's fair to say. I mean, that one picked up really nicely by Kevin off the backboard. So, teamwork coming through to it. They're not just, it's not just a one-player show. But, yeah, I mean, with 3 goals, 1 minute, that's sort of getting to the point where you're like, all right, let's start thinking about the next game. If you are USYD, of course, favorites in this series, they had a pretty commanding victory in that upper bracket final in the same sort of situation. But they are going to find themselves almost certainly down in this series. Admittedly, one of those losses was in overtime. It was very close. It came down to the wire, and you do have that reset, I guess. But, once you get behind in momentum, it can be really hard to pull it back. Sai and Negative, great duo play, but Negative can't pick up the speed and just gets teed off by Cruzza. Kevin bounces it down off the ground. They just find another one. Monash running away with this game, and not in a small way. No,
they are starting to put the hurt down on USYD a little bit. Kevin just sticking around in the middle of the pitch just in case that clear comes through, and, well, everything lines up perfectly. Monash is playing with so much more swagger than what we saw from them back in that winners final. In the winners final, they were always the reactive team. They were kept back on their back third, I'd say, for about 3/4 of the series, and the backboard was also always seemingly exposed. That was the other thing, because I know the backboard defense has been something I've been kind of hashing on all through this season, and it's why I so distinctly remember it being kind of shocking that Monash was struggling in that winners final. But now the ball's never even getting to the backboard fetch. They're shutting it down in the middle of the pitch more often than not. They're creating their own attacking opportunities time and time again, and as game number 3 does wind down to its close, it is going to be Monash in the lead of the series with twice as many wins as they found the last time these two teams met.
Yes. And that's really mean to say when I've processed it probably, but no, you're right. It is being in the lead. When you weren't able to take more than a game in the last series, that is significant. And I'd be interested in getting your thoughts on this one, because I felt like in the first half of the game, Monash's defense was clear to space. Mm-hmm. And USYD was getting the priority on that space. They're picking up the ball out of their attacking line really well. The attack would, they'd get an attack, it wouldn't work out. Monash would clear the ball to space. USYD would get there first and set up another attack.
Yes.
I felt like second half of that, Monash wasn't doing that as much.
No,
maybe it was
not
because
at
they
all.
weren't put in that situation, but I felt like that was at least a solid improvement, which meant a lot in the second half of that series.
So the way how I was kind of taking what Monash was doing, which is pretty similar to kind of what you're getting at, was they were constantly kind of keeping players around that middle of the field, so just to make sure that mid boost was always there, and it opened up a lot more of the pitch. Now, sometimes it left him a little bit sketchy on that defensive side. Case in point, you can see USYD actually had way more shots taken than Monash at the end of that one, but when they were able to get the clears, then they were able to actually find connections deeper down the pitch and get a bit more of a sustained attack in response, or at least something a lot punchier. I think that last goal was kind of a key example of what I was trying to talk about, where, yeah, it looked like USYD was attacking, but regardless, Monash was still willing to try to cheat someone forward, and it wound up working for them in the end. It's risky, yes, but that risk was paying off quite a fair few times. A 5-1 victory is nothing to slouch at, and that's the kind of win that you need if you want to keep that momentum going, because they get this one, they go to match point, and they get one step closer to that bracket reset.
Yes, and you have to make it. You know, it has to be those individual steps. It has to be those kind of like chaining together in individually dominant wins to really make yourself seem like a threat. And I know that seeming like a threat and being a threat, surely the former doesn't matter as much as the latter. But I think it does. I think there is an impact on that, the impact on you, on how you're playing the game even. If you're putting together a few dominant victories, you just puts yourself in a much better situation to play from. Sai is going to have a 1v1 against Freeze here. Okay, it wasn't as much 1v1 as I thought. Pretty comfortable clearance out. Negative going to try and pull the attack forward again. Eki gets the ball, doesn't make it work this time. A couple of defenders in front, so maybe didn't have the angles they might have liked. Freeze tries to put this one on target, and again, we might just see, okay.
Oh no! Backboard defense, Fetch! Backboard defense!
Yeah. That was a bit unfortunate. I was going to say, could we see a Monash goal? No, not this time. It just happens. Just not quite. Not a piece which is working for Rocket Log, at least in this game. Monash, though, they've gone up 1-0 in every one of the games in this series, and they haven't won all of them. So, hey, you said there's a good stat for you and your fans. But again, playing from a 1-0 lead, especially when Monash strung together 2 good games, this could be an opportunity. Side puts it very close. Eki has the play, but it's not quite going to be there.
Negative has got this. No, puts it high. Interesting. That is a bit of an unusual miss right there from Negative. Maybe trying to play for an attacker behind, but yeah, gets that one a little bit too high. Going to be a bit frustrated with that. I'm sure Eki now goes for the redirect. Can't quite find that contact, and Kruzza will be able to clear it through. In a lot of ways, USYD has not changed up their attacking strategy. As you saw right there, it's still the name of the game. Get Eki a chance with a strike. And while this could have been it, had Eki been a little bit further back, instead it's Kruzza clearing it all the way down.
Yeah, and there are 3 players kind of holding a similar position, so a big break could have meant something there, but Negative able to pull it through 2 attackers. Plenty of time for Kruzza to get this one back on the attack, though. Freeze hanging out on the sides, flick this one over the top of almost all of them, but Kevin is able to get there with the aerial. Freeze again setting this one up, and now it's Monash locking in this attack, playing it off the backboard. Kruzza chose to get it, but this time Sai is going to be able to pull that one off. Not getting a big enough clear, though, right at the moment, but the defenders have rotated back. Well, I should have said Monash has rotated back as Kruzza gets his 1-2, an opportunity, but no one going for it. The Sai just finds a clearance in the corner once again.
And that's going to set up something through the corner to Kevin, but it's taken away by Eki, who actually gets a little dunk onto Freeze as well. That forces a defensive touch out of Kruzza. Next priority is Negative. Backboard passes there. Sai intercepted by Freeze. Eki will try to slow things down before flicking it over the top of Kevin. And now you have Kruzza in the box. Pass across the center. Having a look is Negative. Doesn't find the angle again despite the bump and the demo. And that's a huge read out of Kevin to give much needed space to the Monash side.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Monash, I was going to say they might have worked on running it, sort of pulling something out of the, out into the attack there, but it's not going to happen. Eki tries to put the shot just directly on Sai as an opportunity to make this one awkward. Not going to take it. Well, it does take it, but not going to get much more off it. Negative going to try and look to see if there was some way they can foil this 1v1. Gets over top 1 defender. 2 in the same position means that there was a potential to kind of break the entire line in one play. Not going to happen. Sai has to drop back for this one. And it's a bit of a hole to put on the USYD attack, but at least for a little while. Negative goes straight over the top. A little bit high, though, enough for Freeze to get it. Eki has the ball, but again, not enough space. Eki is just not finding that individual positioning. Freeze can't find it, but it's out in the corner, so it's a safe position for Monash, at least for now, as long as they can't, as long as they can repel that individual shot. They feel in a relatively comfortable position, but they're just not finding the clearance. And then you get a shot straight on by Eki. It's off the crossbar. Can he get it? Come on! Do something with this. Negative is the hero of the play. But that's a very, very weird. I don't know if you can call it. But they end it. That's it. That's what I'm trying to say. They even messed me up there. Jesus.
Top level Rocket League, everybody. Top of the line. RLCS players, university, intervarsity, grand finalists, and well, Negative is the one who comes through. Look, Kevin's going to respond to kind off the kickoff, and just we're going to pretend those last 2 goals never happened. It's still a 1-goal lead for Monash. But more importantly, the jokes and memes aside, this was actually insane out of Kevin. Nice little solo play. I'm sorry that it gets overshadowed by what was an amazing strike from Eki, which followed with pure chaos. Like, there's so much to take in, but I don't want to take away from the strike Eki initially had through traffic against 3 defenders. Like, that was fantastic. What happened next wasn't, but then Kevin got redemption with that solo play, so you know what? We're all good.
Yeah, that's it. It was just chaos. It was chaos from all sides. Like, yeah, I agree. Credit Eki. That was a good, finding that one opportunity there was very good. Monash shouldn't probably have been putting so many defenders in one spot. Part of that comes to that backboard defense I think you're talking about. Kevin at the moment just struggled to kind of clear this one out.
Oh!
Over the top, but Eki back again. Freeze! That's a better clear. That's what you want to see if you're trying to pull the ball out of the goal line. But yeah, again, Monash stuck back on this defense with USYD kind of bearing down them. Only 6 seconds left to go, though. They've got to try and make some sort of play happen. It comes to the backboard.
Good demo.
2 defenders out of action. And yeah, it's not going to be enough, though.
No, it wasn't enough that time. Perhaps one more attack. That's if Kevin doesn't get to the ball first. Ball centered. Freeze is there, and that touch will bring an end to game number 4. That's going to be a win going over to Monash, 3-1 in our opening series. 1 game away from the bracket reset. And, I mean, where do you go from here right now? If you're on USYD, you gave your best shot, and maybe a couple of your lesser great shots as well. But the thing is, Monash, 3 shots, 2 goals. Whenever Monash gets that chance, they are coming through.
Oh, yeah, and they are just not hesitating on the play. There's been a couple of shaky situations on defense, and I'm not just going to say that one play. You know, obviously, it's funny. As you said, it's kind of easy to laugh at that one play where the ball just sits on the line. But there was a couple of other moments there where Monash possibly could have had a bit more power behind their clears, a bit more better use of space. You know what I mean? Better use of space, things like that, which could have worked out better for them. But at the end of the day, the attack is what's, kind of going for them. 3-1 scoreline, 1 away from that reset, and it does feel a bit bad that after all of this, they are only going to be equal in this series, essentially, if they win this next one. But I'm sure they'll be happy with that as anything.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be happy with whatever they can get. And speaking of getting some big plays out of the gate, it's going to be Psy. For the first time this series, Rocket Lord strike first blood.
Yeah, and that's an omen. That's certainly an omen. Psy finding that one as well. So yeah, I mean, now it's going to be interesting because Monash haven't really been put on the back foot until the last 30 seconds of each game? Of one game in particular, I guess I should say. So it's kind of hard to know exactly what they're going to do. They don't have that ability to sit back, play defensively, look for an opening. As it is, Freeze is definitely not going to be doing that. It's going to be Kevin trying to run this one through. Can't quite get the touch off the play they might have liked. Doesn't spot that one in the right position, but Kruzza is going to be there for the backup. Eki wants to clear. Freeze wants to keep the ball active, but not finding the speed they might have liked. Again, clear to space, but it's going to be Kevin who picks it up first. Goes over the top, goes highest to 1v1 against Eki. Goes on the backboard. Kruzza, surely not going to happen. Freeze, the attempt afterwards, not going to work out either. They had more players there for the defensive effort, and I'm sure right here, if you're a Monash player, you're going to be kicking yourself a little bit for not making that.
Yeah, that could have been a very massive goal, but this one will be. Freeze is able to take it down the center, so you kick yourself back into gear, and then you put one through. Great individual effort by Freeze, not only to disrupt the clear, but then find that redirect as well. Tie ball game.
Yeah, there it is. And I was going to say, I wasn't entirely sure what Monash does when they're kind of faced with the deficit into the series, but they turn USYD's play against them. They keep hold of that possession. They keep it through the midfield and are just able to kind of cycle through that attack really fantastically. Really impressive stuff from Monash. Outplaying the defense realistically. Negative was that one up high. I think that was Eki who had a touch on the play as well to make it a little awkward for the defenders. They got another opportunity, but Kevin's just going to spoil it, set up the attack once again. Kruzza's going to play it off the backboard potentially. Tries to go for a pinch. No player there. I think they were just bumped a little bit by the defense. Freeze gets that very good preemptive touch, and right now it's straight back on the attack for USYD.
Yeah, as they, slow down the counterplay out of Monash, but not enough to turn it back in their favor initially. It's not until Psy gets that first touch, but had to try to chase it up themselves and can only go so far with it. Now, 50-50, one out by negative. That ball's getting to the backboard, but an aggressive Eki can't make the corner read as Kruzza keeping things nice and sug through that corridor. Almost finds it into a shot. Won't be able to get it this time. Eki tries to run defense. Freeze maintains that possession. They're looking for it on that Monash side, but Freeze doesn't pull off the Kruzza play, and the ball gets away from them.
Yeah, and Eki is going to try and disrupt this one again. Trying to keep this one going, but yeah, Monash holding the midfield, trying to make sure that's their domain. Negative with a great job just taking the ball off them. and sort of keeping it active for themselves. They haven't really had the opportunity to set up an attack like they wanted to, and like they did so well in the previous game, but Negative just straight pings into the back of the shot. Even in spite of 2 defenders going for it, they still find the net.
Just wham, blam. Thank you, everybody. 108 kilometers per hour. 2 defenders, neither can make the read. Negative had to get all of that one. A couple, degrees slower. Probably is not going in the net, but I mean, not much you can do in that situation if you're on that Monash side. There's still plenty of game left in this one if they want to try to put this series away. They're going to need a couple quick goals, and at the moment, possession was initially on the USYD side, but a weird touch from Sai actually is going to give some breathing room to Monash, who were looking to push forward. At least still Eki says, no, not today. Ball goes back to the Bucks. Kevin, okay. Passing it to Negative. Not sure what the plan was there, and it definitely did not work out.
I think they were expecting a teammate to be there to find some sort of clear, but it was a hard ask because Eki's going to be the one to get the ball again. Kevin not quite getting off the backboard. That was risky. Monash barely holding on to this one. I mean, they are still 1 goal down as well. They are the ones who have to be proactively trying to make these attacks happen. So those risky defensive plays could just shut them out of this game altogether. But they are still technically holding on. They're still alive in this one. 1 minute 37 seconds to find some sort of attack here. Negative this time being the one to control the midfield. Great pass to Kevin. Kevin, can he find the redirect? Perfect position from Negative just to shut that one down immediately. Another attempt at pass play. Goes to the backboard this time. Negative to slow it down a little bit. Double commit on the defense, but it's not going to give too much of a leeway, I don't think, because the ball still went wide into that corner.
Yeah, ball still bouncing around middle of the pitch as well, but Freeze now with the chance, looking for the double, doesn't quite find it. Eki instead will clear it across that center, and with a minute 10 to go, USYD looking to put game number 5 under wraps, but they don't find an attacking angle. Instead, it's Kruzza taking it right back to the net. Kevin with the follow-up. Freeze 1v1 loses out to Negative, who has been looking better and better as this game has progressed. Kevin again has a chance. This time it's Eki who will stop him short, and already cheating players forward. That's going to go in. Eki collects on that pass and cashes in for a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, there it is. And again, a touch off side to Eki. Classic stuff from the side of USYD, and yeah, it still works for them, right? It's not just a 1-game thing. It's not just a 2-game thing. It's something they can pull out and kind of any time they want to. We talked about Eki being able to attack the ball from multiple different positions, from many different angles. The setup from Sai as well just makes that much more difficult. Eki wants to try and find another one. Free still going for the attack. Very slim margin to try and get back into this, given how quickly you have to find the attacks from Monash. But, they're still going for it. They're still gunning for it. Freeze wants to put this on the backboard. Right now, close this series at least out right here. Doesn't look like it's going to happen just yet.
Not yet, but we're still going to see some attacking pressure just happening to come from the Rocket Lord side as the ball bounces around in front of the net. Eki will eventually get a touch off that backboard side, looking for a strike. Not really the angle or the power required, but with 10 seconds to go, doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things. It is going to be USYD finding a way to get a win yet again, their first win since the opening game. And I'm sure at this stage, Monash are thinking, man, why couldn't this have been a best of 5? Well, no, it's a best of 7, and we're going to continue to play on as soon as this ball hits the ground. USYD back in with a bit of momentum. It's now 2-3, but still in Monash's favor.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's really a matter of the fact that USYD only have to win 2 to take this series. Monash still have to take, 4, 5? Yeah, 5. I don't know how to count. It's fine. Have to take 5 to be able to kind of fully get this series, and that's a pretty big ask for them. But as it is right now, all you have to focus on is this next game. And I'm sure Monash can pull this one back. USYD have the momentum, so it's not looking easy. But with a couple more games, couple extra lifelines for them. If they can find this opening goal as well, it looked good. Freeze doesn't get it off the kickoff. Kevin almost puts it through. But now it's going to be a counterattack from Sai. Has Eki off in the corner. That's the threat you got to look for. Just bounce to try to make the solo play happen. Freeze kind of denies that, but I like the attempt from Eki.
Yeah, Eki was still gunning for it, and it's going to be gunning for this one. Shot's going to make its way to the backboard. Sai is there. Everyone bumped out of the way underneath Freeze. Got a desperate touch and Negative. An uncharacteristic miss. Kevin's going to try to punish, but it's Kruzza, who has arguably been the most consistent player on the pitch, if I do say so. Almost able to follow it up right there. And I want to talk a little bit more about Kruzza right now, because with all the attention on players like Kevin, on players like Negative, on players like Eki, Kruzza is right up there when it comes to that competitive experience. And in this series in particular, has been kind of the star of the show, I feel like, looking at both of these teams.
I'm inclined to agree with that one. I mean, it's sort of... We did see Kruzza pull a hat-trick in, second game, I think it was? Second or third game there. They looked fantastic, and they shot straight on from the exact player we're talking about. Sai is going to go for a big counterattack. Freeze just pulls that one off wide. But yeah, huge props to Crozza, I think. On defense, on offense, on attack, on defense. Just being able to kind of pull these plays through and be, as you said, just a consistent player. Goes for a shot here. The defenders can't quite find it. That looked like a little bit of a save from Freeze, but I think that was a bit of parallax error. But they're back on the attack still, Monash. They usually would have found a goal by now. They're not quite sure what's going on.
Oh!
Off the sidebar! It's just playing favorites once again. Kevin can't find this one, but has control of the ball. Could go off the backboard, could pass it off to Crozza or Freeze. It's Freeze who tries to push this one forward, tries to get the pinch. Crozza is going to get a touch on it, but it's not the best. He doesn't quite get to any teammates in a bit of an awkward position to deal with. Right now, though, Monash, they're still on the attack, at least for a little bit.
This has been an insane attack right now. I don't know how USYD are holding back because Monash are throwing everything. Seeing reset attempts, we're seeing backboard pancakes, everything was coming through, but nothing was able to stick, and now we go that other way. Eki trying to play off that backboard. Kevin catches it from underneath. It leads to a very strong pinch. Side's kind of stuck in no man's land. That's going to be a goal. Of course, Cruz is the one who puts it through, and Monash in position to reset this bracket.
Yeah, it's the advantage they've had, but they've had it a few times. Doesn't mean they win the series from here, but coming through, getting that later in the game means your opponent has less time to counterattack it. I know that's not actually how that works, but it sounds good, you know? Right at the moment, they are back on the attack as well. Crozza puts it at a great angle for Kevin. Too quickly for Monash. They're feeling themselves in this game, making it that much harder, getting themselves a secure window to try and pull themselves through this reset. Yeah, 2-0 lead with just over half of a game to go. 2's been the magic number throughout. We haven't seen any 2-goal comebacks yet tonight. We've seen a couple 1-goalers, especially with Monash always scoring the first goal, except for in our last game. But 2 points, I don't know about this one, Fetch. I'm thinking we're going through resetsville, and considering that this first series also went 6 games, we could be seeing a 7er in our next showdown. We could see a lot of games between these two teams. It's incredibly exciting as well because it feels like there is more to go. It feels like there is more adaptation and play from these two teams. As good as they've looked now, I think we both know that there's stuff that they can, that there's more they can bring to a series like this. Obviously, after a while, focusing at this much, can get fatigue and things like that, but possibly, I still feel like if they're able to hold on to that, kind of have a bit of a, rest and make sure they're looking after that side of things, I really think there's more they've got to show us. We'll see if they're going to be able to bring things out as we watch Negative look to play through the corner, but too many defenders are in the way. Now Crozza racing back, looking to set up a teammate. It is Kevin this time with a chance to shine. 3-0 lead. This is happening. We are resetting the bracket, I feel like. I don't want to call it officially yet, but, I'm feeling pretty confident that Monash is going to get one more crack at this. I'm thinking you might be right here. Now, it's interesting. Oh no, that one was a bit awkwardly close. I think what I was going to say was about that last goal, but now I'm just really scared. I mean, it's interesting because Rocket Log, you don't think that they're probably going to come back from this one. They've got to get a goal every 30 seconds. That's a hard ask, but not impossible, but a hard ask. They still have another series to play with if they want as well. If they don't have to, don't have to worry too much about the play just yet. But it still feels like they're just always at risk of being scored on, which is a huge, huge boon to Monash potentially going to this reset. That is true, and Sai almost caught it there. The net was open, but the shot was not. Minute 8 to go. Negative eventually does shut down that counterattacking play, but gets demoed underneath before being able to drive it forward. That's going to be Eki's job this time around. Goes for the fake before passing it back to Sai, lobbing it towards the box, but remember that demo. That means Negative's not there to knock it through. Yeah, and it does. And I mean, they want to find these goals, if not for the actual potential comeback, but at least for keeping themselves competitive in potentially this last game of the series. Right at the moment, they're stuck back on defense. Freeze passed across the goal. No one there to pick that one up. It was a little bit high. It would have been a bit of a hard ask as well. Kevin passed it off. Crozza going to go for the knocks and the demos potentially. Not going to come through. Freeze just gets a little bit high, puts it out of keeps it out of the defense. And Kevin, again, dangerous attempt on the clear. It's in a couple of those unfortunate touches, but Crozza just clears it. Almost finds the clearance goal a little bit too far wide on that one. But again, they've set up the attack. They've made to make sure they are 100% going to get this reset. 10 seconds to go. I believe it is done for sure. Monash coming in as the underdogs come through in our opening series. They take it in 6, and that is going to be a fantastic start for them in this campaign.
4-2, the final series score, kind of similar to the final series score in this one. Has just going to let the players know we're going to take about like a bit of a break.
Yep. And
just let them know we'll be taking like a bit of a 5-minute break, which means we also are going to be taking a bit of a 5-minute break before we do get back into the action. But some closing thoughts on that series right now, because for me, 100%, I'm a little bit surprised at how kind of close it has been. In particular, though, the defense from USYD, I'm hoping we see a bit more of that moving forward. Because it's been lacking a bit.
I agree. There's been there's been some good moments earlier in the series, much earlier in the series. I thought there was some good moments from them, but they have kind of been outshadowed a little bit. There was a few double commits. The first game itself had, I think, 2 double commits pretty early on in the piece, and it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that coordination. It was just some weird things going wrong. Too many players in the goals itself. I agree with you. I think that USYD would be nice to see them get a bit more defense in there, a bit more coordination, a bit more kind of diversity in the play. Feeling a bit more confident even might help. Well,
we'll see if they're going to be able to bring it back for us. We're going to be throwing it to a break, but we will be back very shortly. So don't go too far. We will have our grand final series, the deciding series of when we return. welcome back, everybody. So we're getting ready for our next matchup. It's going to be the second half of this grand final. It's going to be an amazing showdown for sure. We've already seen this series go in one critical direction, and that happened to be to Monash. But if we go back to the winners final, that one actually went over to the side of the Rocket Lorg side. So tie series, which means we need to have one more best of to decide it all. You know I'm keen for this one, Fetch. I think you're pretty keen for this one as well. So we're not going to bother you too much with much preset hype. I think we're just going to go straight to the pitch and get this one going and underway. The players have been given that go word, so let's get straight into it. Oop, haven't updated the scores. My apologies on that one. But the point is, it's a fresh series, 0 apiece, winner take all.
You know what? There's only one thing wrong with this picture right now. One thing wrong with this series, and that's that I personally do not have Chatime with me. But you know what? If you're someone who's watching at home, still time to order this. I'm sure we're gonna have a fantastic series, as almost another one opened up from Monash right off the bat. For those of you who are joining us just for this second half of our series, our post-reset world. It was, of course, Monash finding the opening in pretty much every one of those games. All but one of those games still ended up being 2-4 in their favor. Right now, USYD Rokit, they took that upper bracket final already, and they're looking to try and get that one back and try and at least take this first game, build a series from there, and reclaim their winning status against this team, the winning record, I should say, in this season.
I mean, that would be how they want to bring this one home. I mean, I don't remember a grand final that actually has been this close as the bumping coming through right there nearly opens the doorway for USYD to knock it. Like, we've seen teams come from the losers bracket to win. In fact, more often than not, it feels like we've seen teams come from the losers bracket to win. Side backboard, Eki not there. But it's always been kind of a more one-sided affair. But as you can see with this one, both these teams are always so tantalizingly close to getting a ball through.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, welcome to the series, everyone. It's a bit like that, huh? But it's not because we have seen a consistently bad play, or it's not like these teams are just sloppy or anything like that. We've seen a bit of sloppiness coming through. It'd be disingenuous to say otherwise. But it is because there are so many good moments. Different shots, different plays. No team is just running, or neither team, I should say, is just running one play time and time again. They're not just setting up the passes. They're not just doing things like that. Negative, though, finds the opener for this one, and that's a good omen because 100% of games which Rocket Log find the opening goal, they win. Don't worry about that freeze bump. That's fine. That's not relevant.
Well, that wasn't freeze. That was Psy into freeze.
Oh.
That was
it?
Yeah, that was Psy double man pumping people out of the way. So I'm going to give credit to Psy for that goal 100%. Well, okay, maybe more 90%. Negative did have to be the one who hits it through, so Negative gets 10% as well. But the point is, we haven't seen much of a bump game come from USYD, except for games 1 and 2 of the last series. So to see them going back and getting a bit more physical once more, actually, is pretty promising at this time and place. Kruzza, though, was sort of the star of that first series, was really good when allowed to do things like this. Nearly turns it to a strike, but Negative makes the last-second save.
Yeah, they're remembering that goal from Kevin, that pinch goal to open up one of those series, and it was just like, not again. We're going to have that one. And to be fair, it was the defense which we wanted to see kind of shored up a little bit from the side of USYD. And admittedly, that's not a full, that's not showing us enough. Like, that's one single save. But, hey, that's better than nothing, right? That's better signs from them. Midfield game sort of went side of USYD for fairly well there for a minute. They are pushed back into the defensive half right at the moment. They are kind of trying to stop the setup from Monash, trying to stop them from setting up on the play like they have done pretty well in the past. But, you know, it's not something they've found just yet. Maybe a counter-attack opportunity here. Kevin's going to intercept that ball, or just pick up that ball generally, and it's going to get taken straight off by Negative, who's going to run this one up the side, off the boards. Does have a couple of passing plays potentially going to come through. Goes for the solo effort, though. Kevin does get a knock out to the, does knock the ball specifically out to the side, I should say, but very little momentum to work with and a great attacking effort there.
Yet here comes Kruzza on the opposite end. Kruzza being the only one who's kind of been able to consistently hit some of those tough angles that we saw Negative almost get through. Not going to be giving a chance this time around. The point is, both of these offenses have been proving to be quite dynamic when allowed that time and space. It's why I've been wanting to see a bit more of that challenge game, more of that pressure game. And so far through the series, when the pressure has come through, it has been Monash coming out on top, which I still believe is a bit atypical. I would rather trust this USYD side in a more brawly type situation. This is why Negative! He is done playing around, gets the dunk, follows it up himself with the shot, and that's going to be a 2-0 lead.
That one was like an air hockey shot, off the wall in a really deceptive way, and then has the ability to follow it up straight to the middle. Being able to beat out 2 players on that, fantastic stuff. And yeah, you mentioned the last series. We haven't seen a 2-goal comeback just yet, especially not from Monash. They get behind, they tend to stay behind in these series, so, you know, I mean, they had a good effort at trying to come back in one of those previous games, but I don't think they quite made it work. Freeze now going to play off the backboard. They're setting up this aggressive attack. It's what they did last time. Doesn't get enough past the defenders who are just looking to find some sort of clearance out. Negative going to play a little bit slowly. Bounced over the top of Crozza. It should go to Freeze, but Freeze doesn't get the tap they might have liked, and Eki has the ability to pull this one into the attacking line. Yeah,
Eki even has a little cheeky peeky at the end right there. Decides not to take the strike, but with 30 seconds remaining, very unlikely we're going to see this one come back the other way. Kevin goes for the double. Already has one of those this grand final, but not going to find one in the opener of series number 2. Instead, what they're going to find is another game 1 defeat. Woohoo! Eki almost gets one last ball through. But let's start to take a step back right now, Fetch, because game number 1 in our last series did go in favor of, well, this blue side as well. It didn't go finish their way. We saw the bounce back, and we're seeing a lot of close enough strikes, even in these final seconds, that I feel like Monash is still very much in this.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, 2-0 lead, 2-0 end scoreline, I agree. Kind of looks like USYD are pulling back into it. We saw Monash threatening them and attacking them in every opportunity in that last series, in that first, pre-reset situation. I agree. The fact that they're able to get the attack for quite a bit of that, they had positional and possessional advantage quite nicely in that latter half of that game. It's just remembering what you've got to do, what you found success with in that last series. And I really do think that Monash are, in this series alone, like if we take this as its own series and the pre-reset as its own series, should probably be the favorites coming into this one, even possibly after that first game. But it's just a matter of whether USYD can keep running this momentum. It looks like they're doing a fantastic job of it, Sai, especially. First kickoff goal of these 2 series, I believe.
Yeah, the first one, at least this dramatic and this straightforward. Sai just gets the better of the cheat and is able to take that one straight through. But here's the thing that I'm noticing from this USYD side that has me a bit more excited, that we're going to see perhaps a different result. It's been their attack, and it's been different looks. Like, Eki has still been a striker, yes, but both the goals came from Negative, just saying, I'm playing solo from the mid-pitch, and I'm going all the way to the house. That was each of USYD's goals that last time around. Granted, one of them did get a big bump out of Sai, but Negative has been having a more proactive role on the attacking side of the pitch. And that's been an interesting sort of stylistic change because that's not what they've done to get here. However, has this been their sort of secret card in the waiting in the waits, waiting to bust out? Because Negative's looking to find yet another one again. Fetch. Negative's finally been unleashed.
Oh, that's terrifying. And I mean, what a good time to do it as well. You know, you just got forced to play an extra best of 7 after the reset, having that player step up. We kind of talked about like, oh yeah, Negative, I haven't said much of the play, but just wait. And rewarded we were for waiting. Fantastic work from them. Sai and Eki tried to put that ball forward to the pinch. Doesn't work out too well. But now that there's sort of 3 threats on the board, on the field, probably is a better way to put that. 3 threats on the field for the side of USYD. They are looking just that much more dangerous, and there's so much more to watch for. You don't just have to be marking up Eki. You don't just have to be kind of doing that, individual player, like hold the field kind of positioning. You have to be looking at so many more threats, and the team just seems so much scarier. So I would like to see if USYD can do that, and what the response from Monash is. An attacking effort, a great attack, 1-2, might just be that answer.
Yeah, Freeze is going to be the one who's able to put this one in. Good little setup from Kevin. Just taking that shot straight through, but more importantly, finds the bump on Sai. And again, I always talk about my need of, if you're playing through the corner, always try to follow through with the bump or a demo or at least a boost steal. That time it was a bump, and that was all that was needed to open up that doorway. So Monash do get one back, and Negative puts that one in an awkward spot. Cruzzo almost gets the spike. Kevin can't follow it up, though, and that should be Negative getting it to the clear. Late touch buys enough space.
Yeah, Kevin actually struggling to keep this one in the middle of the field as Sai gets a big shot down. No one kind of pulling forward, no one cheating him forward and making that play, but Cruzzo actually somehow ends up with the ball. Great effort there. Pass it back to a defense, to another attacking player. and that's just going to be Kevin, but no much more happening from that one. Freeze tries to get a smother on the play. Doesn't work out too well as Cross going to fire this one downfield. There's Freeze. Does have a pass, but it's just negative getting there a little bit too slow. Almost thought that one might have gone the full distance.
It could have. It had been straight. That one's going in. The net was wide open, and this is, again, negative, I think, no longer messing around in this series. You can see every challenge just trying to save that jump for that last possible moment now. Will be Sai going for the clear. Eki right behind. We've seen this look before. Are we going back to Old Faithful? Eki goes up, but Kevin cuts it off.
Yeah, and actually Freeze does a good job of winning this interception. If they can get a demo to Sai, not going to happen there. We are seeing the sort of demos and things like that and bumps creep into the series just a little bit, but they have to be much more aggressive than that. Right there it is, Freeze pulling this one forward, has a bit of a tempo, is a little bit further ahead of the defenders, but not quite enough to pull that one through. Eki plays through midfield, sets it up, doesn't get the pass connect. Cruzzer is going to be able to put that one off in the corner as well. But again, not too much more coming for this attack. Never mind Kevin. Okay, thought Kevin had something to say about that. But it was just buying time. It was just more buying time.
Can I just... I want to start a Freeze appreciation thread right now for a couple reasons. Yep. One, first of all, Freeze on the attacking side has been going for a lot of these aggressive challenges that I always call for players to do, you know, as BS far forward, just go for every touch. I'm not saying ball chase necessarily, but put yourself in position to make sure that your opponents are never given space. So that's one thing, and that's the more important thing. The other thing as well, just the name Freeze in and of itself, thank you for keeping it simple, because whenever you add something before or after Freeze, the name goes like from really cool to really, really lame. And I just appreciate straightforward Freeze.
I do as well. I like especially because in Rocket League, the Capitals aren't showing up. What is showing up potentially is Monash's attack, but not quite now. We wanted specifically USYD step up the defense. It's been doing pretty well for them. They haven't been scored on too much in this game. Kevin goes up for it, doesn't get that play off the backboard. Eki has a shot to get that secondary touch, doesn't work out for them. But yes, I agree. The exclamation mark, a space exclamation mark as well. Yep. Beautiful, simple, love it.
I appreciate it. I don't know. For some reason in my mind, I'm thinking Chili McFreeze, which for those of people who don't know, was going to be the name of Stone Cold Steve Austin. But, you know, they were like, no.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's actually true. Either way, though, 43 seconds to go. Freeze going to be the one who clears it out. Sayaki may have created some space right here, but isn't going to be able to turn that to a strike. And now with only 35 seconds, the shot, also not quite in on its mark. 30 seconds, last-ditch effort. Monash, they need the equalizer. Kevin had a chance, but Eki shut it down.
There it is. The attack's still on right at the moment. I mean, USYD, they just have to hold the attack. They just have to hold themselves up in this aggressive area. Not going to happen just there. Freeze tries to make a bit of a bait play. Doesn't quite work out. Goes for a knock instead. That doesn't work either. It's off the backboard. Negative. Actually plays off Eki. That was a little bit awkward. Freeze's opportunity. It goes through. Overtime. Part 2 in series. Part 2. And this is very dramatic. Eki went for the squishy save. Negative went up just to block it, and they end up just tripping over each other on the defense. Okay, I spoke a bit too soon. You said still a couple of holes to patch up.
Yeah, and I mean, I knew one of those aggressive challenges were going to come through for Freeze. It was only a matter of time, and that one comes through at the best possible moment. Again, I think it was a pinch attempt that we saw with the squishy that Kruzza disrupted, and Freeze was just in position to capitalize right there. It was a wonderful sequence of events for Monash, and they take advantage of it tenfold. And now off the kickoff, shot coming from Freeze nearly hits its mark, goes for the bump, doesn't quite find it. Negative, unable to get it past Kruzza, who has just been a constant thorn in the side of USYD. Now ball towards the middle of the pitch. Freeze will collect, tries to create a bit of space going forward. Kevin looks for the bump, doesn't necessarily find it, but what they find is the pass and the goal. That is a tied series now. We're back at one apiece.
Oh, Freeze is starting to dance around a little bit as well. Kevin, great job just shepherding Sai out of the play, giving the opportunity, opening it up. That was really beautiful by Monash. I think that makes them 2-1 in overtimes as well, which is a nice little side record to have. Obviously, it doesn't win you the series, but hey, that's nice to know. So if Negative stepping up and Negative becoming the threat from USYD is scary, so is Freeze. I mean, we talked about Kruzza and Kevin being individual threats. Freeze is able to engineer so many clever plays for the team and against the other team, like really using the other team's positioning against them. I love it. It's so fantastic.
It was absolutely a great time to step up right now, and Freeze has been playing well this entire series. It's not like they've been invisible. It's just a lot of the challenges, while I've liked them, haven't been going their way. The moment they start to go their way, though, that's when Monash starts to kind of regain a lot of this control. Now off the kickoff, Kruzza almost got that cheat. Negative was there to slow it down. Kevin will follow it through across the middle of the pitch. Eki keeps that same higher momentum until Kruzza steals it away from down below. Gets it past both Negative and Sai, but is unable to wrap around and turn it into a shot.
When Monash really get those big streaks, though, they actually look like they're really having fun with the game. Like, it's hard to tell, obviously. You never know what's going on behind the monitor. Eki might get the better of that pardon me, that sort of bump, I think it was, coming out of the play. Didn't quite at least get enough time for Sai to get something happening. Negative gets contested. I didn't see who it was, but it was great effort. We get it on the replay. Kruzza just pulls the shot forward.
It was Freeze.
It was free. It was Freeze. There it is. Interruption, knock on the back. Easy start to that game for Monash.
Yep, back to getting opening goals again. And I mean, it came off of as well as a sort of an awkward touch from Eki, and then the bump on Negative. I'm sorry, it's the awkward touch from Sai, and then it was the bump onto Negative, opening that doorway. The bump game just coming through in like absolute peak form. I can't help but kind of like look right now at this Monash side, and I'm not trying to go too hyperbolic with this, but a lot of their approach. Oh, Eki! Somehow was behind that one, coming up with the save right there. Look, what I was trying to get at was Monash is looking like the Renegades. There was a point, but that save was phenomenal.
That save was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, there it is. All right, bit of better defense from USYD. It's off the backboard, though. Negative always got a bit awkward touch onto that. The player coming through from the middle of nowhere. I thought that angle might have had it. Kevin's going to put this one off the backboard. Don't know if there's another player to kind of pick up on that one. Actually, it was going straight onto target. Negative's going to have to save that. USYD, they're rotating through on the defense. They're keeping one player in each position. Eki, great challenge there down the field. Means they almost had an opportunity to break away from it. Kevin tries to play disruption onto Negative once again. Isn't able to do it. The midfield control from Monash is good, but they aren't finding a goal, and they aren't really disrupt the defense too much. That might have just about done it. The Sai gets caught on the other side of the field trying to contest the boost.
Sai still is going to be the one on the backboard who tries to make it clear, and Kruzza may have put it behind them, but that's okay. Kevin was there, but so too was Negative, and that is space given back to the USYD side across the middle of the pitch. Negative going for the reset, but put too much power behind it. Now is going to have to try from down below with no boost, cannot contest, and eventually will rotate back. That allows Kevin the opportunity to bring it back the other way. Negative trying to cross up, but has to connect with Sai, who is able to get to the play in time. Tempo increasing. Pressure as well. Shot from Negative's good. And we have a tie ball game.
And this time it was the Sai Negative show. We did see Eki playing up in that top right corner again to put a bit more pressure on the defense. Kruzza, good effort to try and get the disruption. Same with Freeze. They're still trying to keep in the face, but that time the execution was just a little bit too good. Here it is, yet another situation where we are tied. Plenty of game left to go in this one, so opportunity for plenty more goals, depending on how the momentum goes. Sai plays that one off Kruzza, almost kind of puts them in a really awkward position. The shot powers downfield, but Negative is still back there in the defensive position. Might be able to set up an attack as well. Then get this one past Freeze. That's the big ask. Not with enough force, but Eki keeps it going. It's going to waterfall down. Eki, what magic can you make? It's a pass to Sai, and Sai just a little too high. But a fantastic effort on the attack. I really like that flicker over the top. Don't let it happen there. Eki does pull that one away, and Kruzza, a great attempt equally. A pass to Kevin. That one too high as well. Freeze is the third player, but Negative has enough time to get back in position.
And eventually we do see a bit of a clear, or more of a push, I should say, towards that middle of the pitch. Eki is the one who will stay back. Kevin goes for the dunking play, but is unable to go too far with it. Off the backboard, Eki has a look, but won't follow it up. Instead, it'll be Kruzza playing off the backboard. And we are seeing a very sustained attack coming from this Monash side. They're doing a good job in sort of disrupting that boost. Now they're going for the bumps. Freeze doesn't make contact, but does steal that boost away. That's going to keep the side of USYD in the box a little bit longer. Eventually, Eki tries to play it forward, but Freeze will take it away. And now it's a 2v3, Sai versus Kevin. Kruzza was rotating back and missed a chance. It was a good setup, but they're unable to follow it through.
Yeah, and that's been the case a few times in this game from both sides. It is going to be a matter of who can find the better execution on this play, but the defense being solid as well is nice. Sai passed that straight down. We saw Eki holding the middle of the field, trying to get some sort of redirection. Didn't work out. Ball back to the middle of the field. Sai has an opportunity, but Kruzza just gets to it too quickly. Negative back, playing that defensive role once again. Beats out one. Has the opportunity to beat out Kevin as well. Just has to put this one on target, but Kevin, again, shepherds them off the ball. Keeps it active, keeps it alive, and turns the attack around.
Now that ball is in the air. Kevin's going to try to set something up. Get it in the box, but no one's there to bang it through. Kruza's going to have a chance, though. It's going to waterfall down. Sai has a look, but again, they're so close, it feels like, with each of these setups, but the defense out of USYD is doing just enough each and every time to get that ball pushed towards the corner, where realistically, Monash does kind of need to keep that ball centered as much as possible, and when they find the avenue, they strike. 2-1 lead, courtesy of Freeze.
Kruza had time, Kruza had space, Kruza had plenty of opportunities, especially ones made by Freeze to put that one forward. The defenders weren't able to get high enough, weren't able to get enough onto the tempo, and that means there's a goal, 30 seconds left. USYD, they have an opportunity to pull that back, but they have to kind of pull it off now. You know, they have to not play passive, not play for clears, make sure that they're absolutely holding the ball as best they can. 19 seconds remain, and the window once again is small.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very tight. Eki looking for Sai. He's going to pop it up, trying to follow back with Eki, but Kruza gets that intercept. Negative third member is going to get that ball towards the backboard where Freeze. Awkward touch. Kevin has to make the read from underneath, but got just enough pop to get over the top of Negative and actually get it to the opponent's backboard as well. Monash takes game number 3, 2 games away from taking this title.
And it looks pretty good for them right at the moment. They are doing a fantastic effort of pushing through this series. Of course, they take the first one. They take that first full best of 7 in commanding fashion. USYD, we thought they might just make a run back. You thought they might just make a run through the second series, but Monash definitely have something to say about that, taking 2 games back-to-back, and they look fantastic in doing so.
That they do, and as we look towards our next game in this series, I feel like this is a pretty critical game for the side of USYD right now and their chances. I don't think they can, get themselves back in a winning position if they take this game, but they definitely will be in a losing one if they don't turn it around.
Yes, that's kind of the problem you face in this sort of situation. It's a lot more to lose than it is to win, but I mean, to put yourself in that winning spot, you do have to win games, right? I mean, that's all. Probably sounds pretty logical, but it's important nuance. I think Negative tries to make the solo effort through past Kruza. He isn't able to do so as Kruza just blocks that one off. Eki now is going to be the one trying to make a play, trying to hold this midfield. The first team to score in these series has a pretty good chance of winning it so far. I don't know what that odds are, but it's got to be getting up to 90%. Just the moment Freeze clears that out wide. Negative going to put that one straight back on target if they can. Not happening just yet. Cyrus North 1v2 contest doesn't get the better of it. And now it's up to Eki to find that clearance out of the midfield. Great contest by Kevin, though, to kind of keep that one at least a little bit awkward. Negative, maybe something to say about it. Not going to be anything just yet. Sai Kevin, once again, it's just more 50s for the play. It's really become kind of player-on-player marked-up play right at the moment.
Yeah, it's getting very interesting. Just a lot of, 50-50s, a lot of challenges, which is traditionally my favorite game of Rocket League, where you have to fight for every inch forward up the field. Do you risk cheating someone forward in case you lose that next 1v1 battle? Will Freeze just won a second. Only one more defender left, but Sai will be able to make that play through that backboard. Kruza's already there, though. Defensive rotations have come through, and now they're going the other way. Sai looking for Negative underneath, gets a touch towards the net, but it's a bit wide to the right. No goal this time, Kruza with possession.
Yeah, Kruza not able to find a big clearance, though, as Eki's going to flick this one up high. Kevin gets up to block it, but not much more. Actually gets secondary possession of it, and a bit of an awkward over-index to the attack, I think, a little bit. I mean, admittedly, good play from Negative to stall out a little bit longer. Kevin, though, an opportunity built for Kruza. Those quick-fire attacks, we kind of talked about USYD having players who can attack out of nowhere, and now it's sort of Monash's ball game. Monash's kind of earned that reputation a bit for themselves as well. Negative goes up for that one. Won't have the ability to touch it to get a secondary touch. A great smother, though. A fantastic smother as Eki just puts it straight into the goal. Have a look at this. Kruza felt so comfortable with this shot, and Eki out of nowhere just slams it down.
Yeah, it turns out, you don't always need Sai to set up Eki. Sometimes Eki will go ahead and do it themselves. A great response and a great goal at a critical time. This first goal has been pretty substantial for Monash, as they've been getting them way more often than not. And again, USYD, this game, it really does need to go their way. Going 3-1 will put them at such a disadvantage compared to what is a 2-2 series. Monash, I mean, obviously they would like to win, but still at 2-2, they still have just as much a chance, I feel like, as they do at the current moment. So more pressure on the USYD side. And when you are under pressure, a lot of times it goes two ways. You either get over-aggressive, over-defensively, and of course Eki, the player who is constantly playing forward, is going to lean more towards that aggression side. Let's see if they do so again, though. at the moment. It kind of is all Monash, just keeping that ball jammed up in the corner. Nice bump follow-up as well, but Negative's doing negative things and creating space for the USYD side.
Yeah, and that's pretty big if they can do something with it. You know, Eki, another shot straight on. Sai tries to pick it forward again, you know, kind of ends up with a demo at least, which is going to take a bit of pressure off in terms of clearing and returning this attack right now. Kevin just being a thorn in the side, trying to play that middle of the field. Nice time for Freeze and Cruzzer to get back in a pretty comfortable position right at the moment. Freeze gets denied that shot by Eki. That's in a pretty dangerous position, but out a little far wide. Sai, again, demos on Kevin. But Cruzzer's going to be the one to run this play forward. Not as many opportunities to pass, at least. But you know that Cruzzer can make those individual plays happen anyway. Kevin tries to take a 50 there, doesn't get the better of it, and Eki is actually the one to touch it. But again, no passing opportunities.
None yet, although we will see Cruzzer and Sai kind of go mono up on that top end. Ball's going to go ahead, though, and roll across the field. As now we see a little pass forward to 1-2-1. Not done this time. Negative will be the one who attempts to make some space off that backboard. Cruzzer steering forward, still gets a demo, and it's a swing and a miss from Sai. That might open the doorway for Freeze, but with the demo means respawning defenders, and having to navigate through that is difficult, and Sai is able to come through in the save. Second shot turns into a near own goal. No! So close. It would have been a big break for Monash, but Negative will breathe a sigh of relief as the post makes the save.
Yeah, that was very scary stuff. Negative putting that one through, and I mean, at least there wasn't much pressure from the attackers. They had enough time to kind of take a breath to make sure they cleared it out safely. We've seen those go much worse for the defending team in the previous series, but as it is, Sai actually might have a bit of a break. Cruzzer does get a great touch to it. Freeze opportunity potentially, has passing opportunities, has the backboard to use, but it's actually going to be Negative who just clears it out wide. Right now, Monash, if they don't want to tie up this series, if they want to put themselves on that match point position, they really have to kind of sort of make something happen here, and that's admittedly just to take it to overtime, but at least that's something. Cruzzer can't get it past the defense, but it does go to Freeze. Freeze an opportunity, 8 seconds left. You got to think this is the last attack. Kevin can't put it off the backboard either. The defense is holding so strong. USYD in a bit of a weakness before. Oh no, that time was so dangerous, but it stops just before the line.
Oh my goodness. What a time for an unforced error, a fleeting light of hope from Monash, who would have loved that goal, but it's not meant to be. Not this time at least, Fetch. We are going to a Game 5 with the series tied at 2 apiece right now. This one is so up in the air because we've sort of seen a complete flip on what we had at the start. In that game in particular, it was Monash in control for, I'd say, about 65%, maybe closer to 60. They definitely won the shot battle. But USYD was the one making the counterattacks, making the shots actually count for something. And that's the complete opposite to what we saw at the start of the evening. So both these teams kind of a bit of that role reversal. I mean, best of 3 situation right now for that AEL title. Can still go either way. I feel as if, though, Monash being the more proactive team is still giving them better chances.
Yes, I think given the play, yes, you're right. USYD, when they're on though. Like, there was no denying that when they're able to set up the plays they want to go for, when Eki's finding the right space, when they're getting the passing plays, and even just when Negative is just doing everything Negative does so well, Sai finds out of the corner. Good attacking pressure means that they win the first score of this series. It is hard to say. It is incredibly close. And given the fact that we had a potential 14 games, yeah, that works out. That checks out. We had a potential 14 games to play today. The fact that we've gone to so many already is a testament to how close these teams, how well matched these teams are for a best of 7, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's also good to see Sai can score goals as well for the USYD side. It's kind of been the Eki and Negative goal scoring of bonanza, but speaking of bonanzas, Kevin 07 taking a couple shots himself, almost able to get it past Sai with the late reset. Now it's going to be Cruzzer's turn. Looks for the bump, doesn't find it. Negative finds the ball instead. Cruzzer runs disruption, though, on the clear, and that leads to the awkward touch. Followed through from Sai, though, gets some space. Cruzzer had already rotated back because, of course, Cruzzer has to be everywhere on the pitch at once. It's just what Cruzzer likes to do. And it is looking as if Monash is still hunting for that goal. Late reset as well. Nearly sets up Kevin, but no strike to be found.
Not just yet.
Oh, Kevin!
Another opportunity. The angle wasn't quite there. We've seen Kevin find shots like that more in the first couple of games of the stream tonight. Not so much those. And I was actually going to say something I like about Sai is the fact that Sai can pick up goals. When the ball gets awkward, Sai seems to be really comfortable. Like when everyone else is whipping, Sai just finds touches. saved that awkward defense. There's actually a really dangerous waterfall coming through. Neither players gets it. Side does get a touch on, but I don't think they're quite ready for Negative to put that ball quite where they did.
Yeah, that was just sort of a weird read coming through from the USYD attack, and kind of gives away what could have been a good scoring opportunity. Double commit now. Fortunately for the USYD side, they get to the ball first. Kevin, though, able to steal possession underneath. Negative shuts it down, but because of the double commit came a double rotation back. Negative tries to do it themselves, but doesn't turn it into a goal. Side now looking for Eki, who keeps that ball in the corner. Back up to Side. Nope, jokes, it was for Eki, but the defense makes the clear.
Yeah, a couple of players there kind of tripped over themselves a little bit in terms of the calls and things, possibly. But Eki is going to put that one down. There was a player there. It was Negative, but Kevin actually finds a way to get that play first in spite of not having the speed to it. Kevin flicks it up, keeps it high, keeps the attacking threat on. Remember, they're the ones who have to find a goal to equalize this game. And that was a good shot, but Sai and Eki just in the perfect position. A couple of bit of argy-bargy between teammates there as the shot's still coming through from Monash. Kruzza stays forward, doesn't get baited by the rotate back, is still up in that aggressive position, picks up a pass from Freeze. Fantastic work from Monash to even up this game.
That was a good, delicate touch from Kruzza. Exactly what was needed to break through the two defenders, get that ball through the traffic, and tie this game up. Now, match point is what's on the line, and I think this next goal is going to be the deciding one. Eki seems to agree, gets the bump off the kickoff, and that's a 2-1 lead right back in favor of the Rocket Lorg.
I love that. It's like when, it's like those classic hockey play where you flick the ball ahead of yourself. Like you kind of flick the ball forward, run at the person as if you're passing it off. They kind of go to mark the pass, and then you just run it yourself. Great stuff. I mean, it's a bit different. It works functionally very different in this, but I don't know what the name of the play itself is. Anyway, doesn't matter. Great stuff from Eki to find themselves back in the lead of this. 2 minutes left. There's going to be at least, I feel like there could be opportunity for a couple more goals into this game, but how well that both defenses has stepped up in the play. I don't know how much more of that we're going to get. Negative bounces back that one, shuts it down from Freeze. Great effort to carry the ball down the field as well. Has one player in their back pocket, but it's a matter of whether they can find the pass. I'm not even going to go for it and give Kevin the opportunity to try and clear it out and try and get an intercept off the clear side. Bounced off the corner. Freeze gets a good touch, and it's going to be passed off to Kruzza. No defenders there as Kevin's going to bounce one out of the corner.
No!
Freeze off the side. No! Eki just gets it. Open net for Negative. They turn around, run it down the field. 3-1 advantage.
Oh, my. Eki with the double touch clear off the post to pass it forward to Negative. If that is not a championship deciding risk or reward type play, putting it all in on your own ability to get the perfect read, I do not know what is. Eki, that has to be the play of the day so far.
Absolutely. It was how tight that play had to be, how perfectly timed and angled everything in that had to be. Just incredible stuff. We've seen Eki step up as an attacker, finding goals from awkward angles, but the setup on that one was what did it. Kevin trying to keep control of that one, just got beaten by Negative as the demo comes through. Eki trying to hold possession, keep the attack alive. A 3-goal lead would absolutely seal this. I mean, 2 goals already looks pretty good for them. If they can find another, that's definitely icing the series. Sai tries to get the contest onto Freeze. Monash right now, they're definitely keeping the aggression up. They definitely want this goal back as soon as they can. Eki gets a bit of a break, but can't quite get the speed on the ball. Doesn't have the angle. Gets demoed by Kevin, in fact. So a quick attack here could be punishing, but they just don't find the aggression from Monash.
Yeah, they don't find it this time, and with 30 seconds to go, I don't know if it's coming, Fetch. Not in Game 5, at least. It's looking like USYD is marching their way to match and tournament point. Kruzza still looking for Freeze underneath. It's a double commit, though, and that's an open net going the other way. Sai, I don't think gets to the ball fast enough to keep it open, but definitely it's still more than enough time burnt off that clock. Game number 6. Match point for the Rocket Lorg. Almost saw something right there. I mean, you can never count Monash out. They're really good at getting these last-second goals.
Oh, yeah. Kickoff goals and last-second goals. Monash loves both of them. I mean, both these teams kind of do a little bit. We've seen USYD with a couple of their own. But, oh, geez, that was intense. I think that USYD, this is what we're saying, right? USYD's ability is fantastic. The ability for Eki to generate plays out of nothing, the ability for Sai to make the most of an awkward play cannot be counted out. USYD right now, they advance to match point, series point, hold goddamn championship point, and they look really good in doing it. But again, can't count Monash out. I'm glad that's what you said just then, because it's so true.
Yeah, no, this is, well, I mean, quite literally, it is do or die realistically for both of these teams. USYD, they've got an extra cushion of a game right now, but Monash, I don't know. I don't know if this one doesn't go to 7, Fetch. We'll see how we play this one out. At the moment, it is Kruzza trying to create that early attacking pressure. Monash needs that opening goal. We've seen USYD come back, but we've never seen Monash do it, and that's just going to be their first time to try because Eki's already made it 1-0.
And Eki got the love tap from Freeze and went, I can make this work. Pulls the other rush from Kevin, and Eki is becoming a bit of a highlight reel in these last couple of games. Takes the lead in this series. Looks pretty good for USYD. We're going to have to see what Monash has to say about it. I'm sure there's a heck of a lot.
I mean, that dunk, taking advantage of the situation, was phenomenal stuff. And if that turns out to be the AEL Semester 2 of 2021, or Season 2, however you would like to call this one, if that turns out to be the championship winning goal, then so be it. Although Freeze says, this is what a proper goal looks like, everybody. It's a pass up the field, a clean aerial touch, and right into the middle of the net at a solid 116 kilometers per hour.
I was fast, yeah. And opposite side of the defender, everything going textbook perfectly right. But that's not become, USYD are not finding that that's the thing they like. Like, textbooks are great, but that's for when you're, you know, in class. When you're out of class, you just slam goals whenever you get them, and Eki always wanted to prove that point. Trying to get another slam straight into the goal as Kevin's going to get a bit of a breakaway. A couple of defenders are left. Negative pass that one out into the corner. Sai is there and gets it past one defender, but gets demoed for their troubles. That means there's no one back for this one, and Kruzza scores it 2-1.
And now we have ourselves the Monash lead. They hadn't been able to bring a comeback yet. Well, this is the first time they do it. Of course, it's a fine time, but 4:01 still on the clock, Fetch. It is very fast. This has been a high-scoring game number 6 right now. This kickoff, though, goes right into Freeze's lap. And they're going to go ahead and get that ball all the way up to the corner until Eki will try to push it out. Has Sai by their side, but Kevin does enough disruptance to takes it away, trying to turn it to the shot negative with that backboard read. Look, something I'm noticing, these teams, they're starting to get a little lippy with each other in the chat. It does pop up on occasion, I think. You know, the nerves, the excitement, the suspense, that drive to win, it is starting to come through. No love lost between these two, and I feel like that's fueling this blue side right now. A very clutch save by Sai.
Yeah, has to be a little careful where you put the ball, though, given how good Monash are at finding these shots. Freeze is going to try and run it down the field to Kruzza to get the pass back. Hopefully, Eki puts him in a dangerous position. Sai goes up for it. Freeze tries to take the contest, but Sai doesn't even connect with a shot. Negative now is going to be the one on the angle. Sai not able to find it. Remember that you said if they get a couple more goals, they close out the series. Kevin makes the flick. Awkward. The backup isn't quite there from one, but Freeze is the one who touches it. And again, another clutch save from Sai to keep this play alive for just a little bit longer.
That said, with the ball coming through the corner, it might not be done yet. You know Monash wants this goal. You know they want that 2-point cushion because of how dangerous that player in particular, Eki, can be. Speaking of Eki, they're going to push it past the middle of the field. Free throw with control, but Sai, as per usual, finds the read, and Kruzza committed to the pass. That means Kevin has to try to make an awkward touch, can only do so much with it. Ball waterfalls nearly down, but a good touch off that backboard means it's going to be more of a delayed attack, one that Eki still commits for. Again, gets it the ball around Kruzza, who still makes the touch off of the side play. Negative trying to stick with it. This time Kruzza again comes through, clearing it back to the blue side of the pitch.
Yeah, and now Negative is actually trying to make a run for it, keep the attack.
Oh!
Tries to finish it with the wall, doesn't quite work out. Sai still gets it. No defender is able to get that one, and here back to tied. USYD, they want to end it at this game.
Negative.
They don't even.
It was so good right there. Every touch Negative made on that press forward was with purpose, Fetch. Every single one. Delicate when it had to be, a bit harder towards the end to get the pass back. That was strong fundamental ground game Rocket League.
Yeah, it was very good. It was a very tough play, I guess. Not tough in terms of difficulty. Tough as in standing ground, making sure you have exactly the plays off the field you want. Negative push this one up, but it gives it to Freeze. It's actually going to go straight up for a contest, and might have almost got that one, but it goes out a little bit further wide. Does get the demo into Kruzza, and that's a good stuff.
That's
not quite. The ball's been right in that position a few too many times. This time it goes in favor of Monash. 1 minute 40, and they're going to try and make a run down the field.
Reset. The pass to Kruzza, but he gets bumped off the play, and Sai will clear it out. Kevin, though, with that save, may have just saved this tournament for Monash. Might need to do it again. Will be the one with possession, looking for that second touch, dishing it down to Kruzza, who will be able to follow it. Has a peek at the backboard, but doesn't really want to commit to it this time. Still a 2-2 game. Negative looking for that go-ahead point. Puts a good shot on target, but the follow-up's not quite there. Sai and Eki opting to play defense instead. Freeze gets the setup at the cost of their car getting demoed. And now in the corner, Eki again finds that space. Just over a minute remaining. Fetch. Game 6 in the grand final. Monash desperate for the win. Kevin with the shot saved by Sai.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We might have another overtime. There'd be a chance for USYD to even that one up as well. I know that's not the record people care about as much. Ball almost forced over by Kevin. Sai does block that one out. Right here, it's Monash. They're still back. They're still in the attack. They're still trying to keep this one active. Negative, not going for the clear. Just tries to play the ball forward. Tries to keep in their possession. The dribble didn't quite work through. Kevin tries to get a pass back to Kruzza. Doesn't quite connect, but as long as they're able to hold his attack, as long as they're able to keep the ball in their attacking half, eventually you're likely to find that goal. Kevin gets the ball jinked over the top. Freeze keeps it active for at least a second, but here is Sai. Here is the clearance out. Kruzza has plenty of room to do stuff with, but that wasn't quite the shot you wanted. No, it was Kevin who had to be the hero in that play just to pull it out of defense. Eki, sorry, is the one to touch that one down. Play might slow down for a little bit now. Teams, at the moment, Monash, they're just playing to keep this one down to the overtime. That shot was dangerous, but just a little bit wide. Oh boy, that last 30 seconds of play.
And we are going to yet another overtime in this series. This could be the golden goal that USYD needs. They're on the attack straight out the gate, but Freeze tries to slow it down in the corner nonetheless. Really trying to slow it down, actually, because they have no boost. That's all well and good. Sai's going to take it away. Ball rolling towards the shot is not in, and Sai's touch is delicate. Kruzza goes for the save. Negative gets the dunk, and it is USYD Rocket Lord, your AEL Season 7 champions.
And they find it off a play involving all three of them. That's it. That's the sign that they want to show. If they're going to win the series, it's going to come off a pass play, it's going to come off a team play, and it's going to be so good for USYD. Huge props to them. They worked through the entire season. They didn't let that reset get the better of them. At the end of the day, they come through 4-2, vanquishing who is probably going to be their rivals if both teams are in the tournament next season. I think it's fair to say, given how intense all of these clashes have been.
Yeah, and when you look at like some of the people who have won this tournament in the past, names like Caveman Ben, Riv, Morse, as well as Delusion just last season. Even if we go further and further back, some of the big names in like the annals of this event, I'm talking about, when Deacon was winning these, where you have Vive playing and like things like that. Now we can add Negative, Sai, Eki to that list. These are players who have a bright future ahead of them. This is always sort of one of those big starts, but my goodness, what a fantastic victory for that squad as we kind of bring it back to us right now. I mean, they did so well.
They did fantastically. An incredible effort by the whole team. They did brilliantly. They kind of had the idea that it might be Eki, it might be Sai setting up for Eki, things like that. Then Negative came in, slammed some fantastic plays. Sai playing it through the awkward shots, being able to keep the clearances when no one else found them. But it was just so good. It was, like I say, it was the team effort, it was the coordination, it was all of the pieces coming together, and a team that was a hard-fought, well-deserved win by pretty much every account. You could have taken either of these two teams after that and been happy with it.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, what really was the brilliance of that play was just the fact that, sorry, I'm a bit all over the place, but you said put all the pieces together. That's the point. That's what I'm trying to get at. And it was a fantastic series.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish to a fantastic day and a fantastic season nonetheless. A well-deserved victory for the USYD side. Congratulations to them. One last time, though, I mean, big thank you to everyone involved with this production from top to bottom. I'm talking about the people behind the scenes like Quan, Nitro, BK, and Scootin' Baby, who helped us organize these events, to Fetch, as well as Cadius, as well as JR Tins, who helped cast, and even Gex, I think, got in for one of those as well. A thank you to the sponsors, Chatime, of course. You can see right there, make it a good fruit tea time. Try out the new Peach and Lychee Oolong tea range, as well as Predator, where you can conquer new worlds. AOC for that best view viewing experience, Indomie, with that awesome prize where you can win the ultimate gaming package worth $3,500, showing how you game with Indomie Australia. You actually go to their website, indomie.com.au, check that out. And last and certainly not least, RIG Rig with what it takes to win. Fetch, it's just been a fantastic day.
It's been a fantastic day, and you were right. Capping off what has been a fantastic season as well. So many good things going on in this season. So many fantastic series, so many great teams. Thank you to all of them. And of course, the one person who we haven't thanked, Formal, for running so many of these broadcasts, being there, bringing the energy day in, day out. It's fantastic stuff to see. Such a great crew we've got here. Such a great audience as well. We'd love you to win that giveaway, so make sure you have a look at it. But yeah, I think that's about it to say. It's wrapping up such an exciting season. I'm a bit emotional in this one. We've done it before, I know, but still, like, fantastic.
It's the last of the year. It's the last of the year. If only Fetch, we had another opportunity just tomorrow to cast again. So tune in tomorrow for the Riverina League, by the way. It's going to be starting, I believe, 6:30 AEDT.
I think that one's on Facebook, though, I will say. I believe that's a Facebook stream, but, hey.
This one was Facebook as well.
Medias. Yes, but like.
Oh, I said Twitch. I said Twitch. I said Twitch, didn't I?
Yeah, there is Twitch. There's Twitch. There's Twitch viewers who are being wonderful. Cool. But yeah, follow us at our social medias and of course AEL social medias, both of which should deliver you a pretty quality time if you do.
Yeah, I think they will deliver a fantastic time. Not to mention all the other university sports, which are wrapping up right now. So much going on. I've been enjoying, particularly the World of Tanks. Whenever that's been on, that's always been a lot of fun. But either way, here or there, we've got to head off. I hope you guys have had a great season. I know we have. And until next time, we'll catch you out there, out on that pitch.